Hello and welcome back to the Wrexham Way. Hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's episode where I have a bit of a cold, which is not ideal in any sort of circumstance. A bit of a sore throat, a bit of a bunged up nose. I obviously sound a bit ill and stuff like that. So if you can put up with my voice today, hopefully we're going to have a good transfer special. Speaking of transfer specials, well, how much money have we got to spend? Well, the answer is £57.5 million, which is pretty exciting. You'll have seen that yesterday, actually, if you watched yesterday's Scouting Network video, which is quite an interesting one to make. I enjoyed making that one, to be fair. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But you will have seen then that we've been given a lot of money to spend on players this summer. So if you're looking forward to that, make sure you drop a like on the video for me, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Now, before we actually talk about any transfers or anything like that, one thing to talk about is we are getting a stadium expansion by about 6,500 seats to go to 18,000 seats in our stadium. However, to do so, the board have said to us we need to move stadiums so the work can be done in a timely order. So this season, we're going to be playing games in Stoke City's stadium, as you can see here, the 30,000-seater stadium. To be fair, it's not actually that bad of a trek from Wrexham to Stoke. Quite a bit of traffic around Stoke at this point when I'm recording, but an hour and 20 minutes or so is not the worst journey in the world to do for a couple of months whilst the stadium gets built up again. And obviously Stoke have a much bigger stadium than places a bit closer like Chester and Shrewsbury down here, so obviously Stoke makes sense. Although I think in real life, if this was going to happen, they wouldn't go to Stoke. They'd go and play in the Rugby League Stadium in Warrington instead, which is about an hour from Wrexham. There's current bad bit of traffic. I'm sure it's in normal times a lot less than that. But I think if that was ever going to happen, they would probably go and play there. Although we're talking about a stadium move that doesn't really matter in the slightest. Although if we do start losing plenty of games in Football Manager, then I will be blaming the stadium move because of it. So we spoke at the end of last season saying that, to be fair, for the most part, I am pretty happy with this team. The average age of this team is really, really young. If we sort it by, the team at the moment, Sandri's 26 in there, Diego Suquira is 24. They're the two oldest players. Everyone else is, Schneller's 27. There's a couple of players who are 22, 21, 20, 19. A lot of them are really, really young. And so I'm not overly fussed on bringing in big replacements because I'd rather see these guys develop. We've got a lot of potential in this team. Like Lusau is 5-star potential. Luis Felipe, 5-star potential. Suntesic, 4.5 stars. Ostergaard, 4.5 stars. Like, there's a lot of potential here. And on the bench as well, Spadina's 5-star. Gabriel Salama's 5-star. There's all sorts of good players there. So I am much more keen to look at player development than I am of bringing players into the team. But there are obviously areas that we could improve. Now, the one area that we definitely need to bring someone else into is backup right wing. Luciao is going to become our first choice right winger this season because Rebergen is going to be heading back to Man United because, of course, we can get him back on loan next season, but we're going to pay an awful lot of money for him, which we're not going to do because it's stupid. So thank you for 110 appearances in the league and 25 league goals as well. You love to see it. Really good work from him. There's also a couple of people that I do want to get rid of this season because I just don't think they're going to quite match our ambitions. Galbraith, Cresswell, Gaston and Riucci definitely, but I'm not sure about Roxvarg or Jacobson. I'm still a little bit undecided on them as to what to do with them. Personally, I'm a little bit more in the let's get rid of them camp right now, but we won't go in too hard on them right now. But Galbraith, he's been a great player for us, but I don't think he's the player to carry us forward in the Premier League anymore. He's a great older player in the team, and that's maybe what we're going to miss a little bit, but I'm sure we can replace him. So transfer, offer to clubs, value between 10 and 11 million pounds. Let's just go 10 million pounds, offer him out, and see who bids for him. Charlie Cresswell did come in as a backup player, really, and has been a backup player. Only made 15 appearances for us across a season and a half, and yeah, it's nothing special, to be fair. If we can get some profit on him, maybe £8.5 million, that would be quite good going. And then Gaston Andreucci is 21 years old now, but just hasn't really developed. Like, he's still got that 5-star potential, but at 21 years old, when he's our first choice keeper for like 2 seasons, kind of, I don't know, I just don't really see him being the man anymore. We're going to have to make a bit of a loss maybe on him. He's valued at around 15 million. Whether clubs actually bid that, they won't. That's the thing, they won't bid 15. Let's go 13.5 and just see if they bid it, but I don't think they will. So I'll press continue and just see if any bids come in, as Andreucci wants to talk about his asking price right now, and it looks like no one's actually going to bid for him, because there are bids for Galbraith. Watford and Fulham meeting that £10 million valuation, so actually We'll reject that. Go back in, transfer, offer to clubs. Let's go 12.5 and just see if clubs bid up a little bit. But Gaston does want to bring his asking price down. Okay, what's a fair price for you then? He says £675,000. £1 million. He's offended by that. I'm not prepared to negotiate any further on you, Gaston. I did think that 13.5 was a bit too high. So let's bring it down to like 5. Also, no bids for Cresswell either, so I imagine we have to bring his bid down a little bit, as well as, again, clubs are making that £12.5 million for Galbraith. Reject it. Can we go up to £15 million for Galbraith? Transfer offer to clubs. Would they do 15 million? Let's see with that one. Andreucci has had bids on the table made for him. It's not quite 5 million, but we're at least going to recoup some of the money that we spent on him. So I think they are different initial prices, but go up to £2 million each. So I think we'll accept all of them. Although maybe not £15 million, because that is apparently too high. So we might just set up a £12.5 million then for Galbraith. Let's do that. And then Charlie Cresswell, transfer offer to clubs down. So we paid 3.3 for him. So anything above that is fine by me. Jacobson also wants to talk about an improved contract, which I personally do not want to give him. I think he's done here at this club. Dylan, can you sort it out for me first, please? And he can't. I might just say the club can't afford it, and he's not happy with that. I'm not going to back down here then. Right. He's unhappy. It's time to try and get him gone. Let's start the bidding at £12.5 million, please. Now, Watford are happy to meet £12.5 million, so we will accept that bid from Watford. But it looks like no clubs for Cresswell or Jacobson again. Right, offer Cresswell out again. £4 million. We're going to have to go quite low on this guy, aren't we? Jacobson, transfer offer to club, maybe a bit lower. £8.5 million. Oh, this feels horrible, doesn't it? Jacobson, clubs are only bidding 2.1, basically £3 million, both of them. I think we can get more money up front. We paid £1.6 million for him, which actually isn't that bad at all. So if we can get like a £5 million return on him, that would be not bad. Although clubs are not making it. They are quite low, these bids. The thing is, I think it's just probably better to get him gone, isn't it, really? I'm going to accept them because I just don't think we're going to get better bids, clearly. But still, no one for Charlie Cresswell. I've gone to £3.5 million. And is that going to get anything? I mean, it doesn't look like it. But again, even going down to £3.5 million for Charlie Cresswell, no one wants him. So we'll work him as later on in the window, I think. But as it stands right now, that's an extra £17 million coming in. So we're rolling in money. Right, let's start to actually make some bids for players then, shall we? Let's start to think about it and let's start to do it. Now, this is my shortlist right now of players that I think could be quite good coming into the club. It's a mix of players who are older, who are quite good, and younger who've got good potential. Now, if we could bring all of them in, that would be great, but I don't think we necessarily need to bring them all in. They are mainly focused around the right wing, which we need, and then centre-backs and centre-mids, which I think we could do with some more strengthening in. I think we'll start off at the back, because for me that's the easiest one to focus on. William Saliba is available, currently contracted to Trabzonspor. We've lost some scouting knowledge on him, even though we had scout reports on him pretty recently. But our best centre-back right now, is Luis Felipe. And as you can see, William Saliba is much better than Luis Felipe, who's our best centre-back right now. So although we want Felipe to play and we want Sakira to play as well, I do think that bringing Saliba in will help us out immensely. Wages will be expensive, £54,000 to £67,000 a week, but £10 to £15 million to make the deal possible, to me, is a pretty good deal. So if we go in with, let's start low, shall we? Let's start low at £7.5 million and then get rid of profit from next sale. Suggest they just come back in saying they want 11 up front, 10 down the line, and then 750k after 10 league games. Right. Well, let's get rid of that. Let's bring this back down to 7. Bring this down to 7. £14 million total. In fact, we could do 6 and 6 maybe. Let's say that, shall we? 6 and 6 start off with 12 million. They want 8 and 10, so 18. I'm going to go 7 and 7, personally. I think 14 is a bit more reasonable. They want £2.8 million after 50 league games. If we can go to 6.5, 6.5, After 50 league games, we'll give you £1.5 million, and that's 14.5, isn't it? Which they just want a little bit more of. A little bit more of. 6.5 and 7, that's £15 million total, isn't it? Which they don't like. 15.5, let's make the bid. And that bid in the end was actually accepted, which is quite nice. So £15.5 million for Saliba. It's going to be a big contract though in terms of wages, but I think he's probably worth it. Can we make you a regular starter as an important player? And he says yes to that, which is good. And that might bring his wage down just a little bit. Now the signing on fee's big. Make it £2 million. If we can go to like 50 grand a week, and maybe just bring a couple of these down a little bit. Suggest he wants 70. Right, I think we leave the bonuses as they are, and we just start to make the contract a little bit longer maybe, but 55 grand a week, he just wants the 70k, doesn't he? Which we can afford. I want to bring it down to 65. Oh, it's a big contract, but we do know that he will be, probably on paper, the best player in the team. You would imagine. I think it's a good deal. I mean, when he's that much better than our best centre-back right now, it's saying something. Physically, much better. Vision, much better. As a ball-playing defender, that's good. Attacking is not really too important, but technicals, aerial, that's really important to me as well. So I think it's a good deal. So there's a defender crossed off the list. Now, there is another centre-back that I would love to bring in, and it's a Welsh guy called, wait for this, it's a great name, Harvey Davis. What a fantastic name that is. He is another young centre-back, 18 years old, Welsh too, which is really important to us. The issue is he's at Chelsea and going to be valued an awful lot of money. I think maybe we try and start to build a loan deal for this guy. Not that he'll play too much for us, but I do like the look of him, and I think he could be great in the future. But if we were to make a bid, I mean, he's valued at £20 million now. If we're going to put £10 million on the table, they just come back and say 17.50. Okay, it's a lot. Let's not do this right now. We also still have Luke Rudd on our short list. Of course, we tried to go in for him in January, and he does look good. But, I mean, I don't think they're too fussed about making... I don't think he's bothered about signing for us right now. It says it says no, just on a new contract, the club, not interested, okay. And then that starts to bring us into the centre of midfield. And the first player to bring in is 100% this guy, Nick Batsner. Now, he is more of an attacking midfielder, actually, but we'd play him as the centre midfielder on attack. And if we compare him to, if I can find him, the man he would replace, which is Jan Patrick, you can see there's a big difference in player here. Now, Jan Patrick's better in the air, technically better and mentally better, but every other area, Nick takes it. And I think that's quite a nice thing to have in the team. Even nicer is that he is available on a free transfer. So, it will mean we're going to have to pay more for him per week, I imagine, but we're going to get him for free. But 82 grand a week's a lot. 82 grand a week is an awful lot. If we can bring it down to like 60 and just leave all the other bonuses as they are, is that something... Oh, he's not going to like this at all, is he? Again, if we can just try and give us Saliba 65 grand a week, which he won't like. He agrees to 67 though. It's a lot, but I think he's going to be worth it. Also, because these two players are really old as well, 28, 29, I say really old for our team, they'll be very good tutors and mentors as well for the future. But there are, of course, a couple of other centre mids as well. Actually, two of them are Welsh. Dylan Levitt is a Welsh centre mid, currently playing for Sporting, valued at a lot of money, and is a very good player. And if we actually compare him with Nick, you can see that they are very, very similar sort of players. Nick actually maybe just takes it. But to have another great Welsh player in the team, that would be really, really handy. And of course, a bit more versatile, can play more CDM as well as in the attacking midfield and on the wings. The thing is, transfer status, he has no interest in joining us right now. And it's expensive. And Tottenham want him too. I mean, I don't want to make an inquiry. Like, if we go to make an offer, bring it down to, I don't know, 13 million and suggest that, they just say they can get more for him. Well, let's put 15 on the table then. Let's see what they say. The other guy is this Lewis Gabadon guy who was playing for Cardiff. Cardiff, who didn't get relegated from the Premier League this past season, so he's still going to play in the Premier League next season. If they did get relegated, this would have been a really good signing for us. But he's valued at a lot. Make the offer of £51 million. That's what he's valued at, which is a stupid amount of money. If we can bring it down to 20 and just like suggest it right. What do they say? 46, 42, 4 million down the line. It's £92 million total. Cancel. And then we look at the right wing. And there's a few players that I am looking at. Although suddenly all of our scouting knowledge on this guy seems to have disappeared. Let's scout him out very quickly. Again, we're not looking for someone to be a world beater. We're looking for someone to be a backup player, basically, and this guy could be that. I do quite like the look of this guy, but it looks like we need to get more scouting done on him again. But good pace, good agility, decent crossing, dribbling and stuff like that. It's not too bad. We've also got the option of George Rankin, who wouldn't want to be a backup player. 20 years old. He is described in the media as a Wonderkid, as you can see. That's something we'd like to have in the team. Currently at Rangers would cost us about 20 to 34 million pounds, which is a lot of money. But would that be worth bringing in? Obviously, we have Luciao right now in the team, who's meant to be our starting player, and I imagine actually Rankin could be a little bit better if we come. They're different players, really. They are very similar. There's not a whole lot between them, actually, both 20 years old. But Luciao's more of an inverted winger / inside forward, whereas George Rankin is more of the winger with the right foot. So they are quite different. But, you know, I could be tempted to bring a Wonderkid into the team. I mean, it's a Wonderkid, right? If we can go like 12.5 now, and then add some instalments of like 10 million, right? 22.5 million. They want just a little bit more. If we can get rid of the goals, bring that down to 3 million there, to be 2.5, to make it £25 million total, they accept. And that would be our biggest signing ever. Now, he's not too interested about talking to us, but does want to be a star player. And this is what I don't... Oh, this is what grinds my gears a little bit. Because I don't want to use him as a star player. He'd be a regular starter, which actually he's happy with. Okay, well that changes things a little bit then. But maybe not on... Oh, we can't afford his wages. Hang on, we need to adjust the budget slightly then. Because obviously we're paying a little bit more than we maybe should be in wages. If we can bring that back up now to... We can't... oh, dear me. Okay. Oh, why can we not adjust our wages anymore? Why has that stopped being a thing? Can I go to... here and go to... Why is that? Why can I not do it anymore? It literally let me a second ago. Okay, well, now that we can't adjust the budget, we have to walk away, don't we? Like, look at all this. We literally can't offer him anything. Right, well, let's walk away, because that's annoying. I don't know why we can't adjust the budgets. Maybe because we have all that money on the table already. We'll come back in for him in a few weeks' time. Also, for the record, the guy from Sporting, that bid's been rejected. On the grounds that he doesn't want to join us, I think we probably just leave it there. But Galbraith is leaving the club, so see you later, Ethan Galbraith. Great to have you here for a little while, but it's time to say cheerio. Also, Gaston is set to go to Darmstadt, who play in the Zwei Bundesliga. I mean, what a drop. What a drop. From second in the Next Gen Awards to now playing in the second tier of German football. I really wish he'd worked out. I really, really wish he had worked out as a player, but it wasn't to be. Oh, and also Jacobson, off out to go to AEK in Greece. So have a good trip there, mate. That's all the players we want leaving the club, apart from Cresswell leaving the club. Just need some guys to join now. You know, get these contracts sorted out and they'll be into the club ASAP. But I keep seeing little good deals for players, right? This guy, 18 years old, playing for Ludogorets right now, Championship current ability, Premier League potential at 18 years old. And I tell you what, it doesn't look bad at all. I do quite like what I see. One cap for Bulgaria already. What's the harm in paying the £4.3 million release fee clause on this guy? Which, yeah, that's what it is. There's no harm in paying that and loaning him out for a season. I think we do it. I like what I see. Squad player, quite a cheap contract as well. We'll send him out on loan, I'm sure, and that'll be that. Bring the contract down to 8 grand. He's locked in release fee clauses, but they're quite big, so let's not worry about them too much. Get rid of future ways to make money. So Pereira puts back up to like 10 grand or something like that. Suggest he wants a bit more. That's fine. If we can just bring all this into like night. Yeah, let's do that. Suggest he just wants a bit more money. There we go. But in good news, William Saliba has been given a work permit. £14 million, 7.75 this season. For me, it's a really solid deal. It will massively strengthen our back line. We'll put him on the right-hand side of the defence. We'll probably move Lewis over to the other side, the left-hand side. And that seems to me like a really solid deal. So in he comes, William Saliba, to be, in my opinion, the best centre-back at the club. Now, it says here he's not as good as Luis Felipe and Diego, sorry. However, if I just literally compare these two right now, if I can find William Saliba, for me, the scouts have done a bad job there. For me, the scouts have done a really bad job. I swear Saliba looked an awful lot better. I mean, how has that even happened? Surely not. Surely that's... I mean, he's still better than Cresswell and any other backup player that we've got, right? So he's still going to improve that back line. Let's just compare Diego with him as well. If I can find Saliba on this... Wrexham, go to S's, Saliba. Yeah, Saliba's better than Diego at least. I feel a little bit hard done by there. A little bit hard done by. But I stand by what I say. So for me, Saliba will be on the right-hand side of the defence. Sequeira will go onto the bench, won't he? Probably ahead of Willy Cambuala, who I'd like to still keep at the club, because I do quite like him as a player. Particularly 17 pace, that's mental. But with Cambuala, Sequeira and Holter and these two on the pitch, like... 5 centre-backs is enough, isn't it? Cresswell really needs to go. And let's just get rid of the transfer fee and just offer him out unspecified. And Fulham have put a £2.8 million bid in for him. I think we just have to accept it, really. It's going to be a bit of a loss on Charlie Cresswell, but we've made money elsewhere. I'd rather just get him gone off the wage bill. Let's do it. Also, Nick has been given a work permit. I'm terrified now. Of like how bad this could be. Now he would be replacing, if I can find him, Jan Patrick. And whilst Patrick's better in the air, technically and mentally, everywhere else Nick's better. Particularly in the attacking sense, which is what Jan Patrick's kind of meant to be more of, the attacking sort of player, right? Well, YOLO, I guess, maybe. Press accepts, press continue. He's not going to be here for a little while because of contract. So 1st of July, we'll check it out. Also, we need to ask Fulham for £4 million for Cresswell because the board are not willing to sell him for anything less than £4 million, which is a bit annoying. Oh dear me. Also, am I seeing a striker for the future here from Pedro? He's placed with Braga right now. Championship current ability, Premier League potential. But what I'm seeing is a very fast player who's got very good finishing, first touch and dribbling. Technique's good. Off the ball's pretty good. If his composure, anticipation, decisions got better, yeah, I could see this guy being a really solid player in the future, you know. Like, not quite as good as Sione right now, obviously. Although Sione's still got a bit of work to do, I'd say, aerially and mentally, before he becomes a really solid striker, and a bit in his vision too. And maybe actually, you know, you'd struggle to see him maybe getting to that sort of levels. Whereas Pedro's 19 years old, already very, very similar in most areas, actually. Which I'm liking. If we compare him to Salom too, I mean, Salom actually maybe could look to be the better striker than Sione. But what I'm seeing here is a 19-year-old Pedro is not that much worse than either of our two starting strikers. Not that we need another striker, but it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to have another striker, would it? Like, if we just go 20 million, suggest they want 13 and 18 for 32.5. How about 12 and 12 for 24? And then they want more. Get rid of that. Bring that down to 3 million to make it 27. They accept. I mean, is this guy listed as a Wonderkid? No, he's not. But he can't be far off. Obviously interested in talking to us. Squad players fine, regular starter import, and probably on loan for this season, I would imagine, maybe. But again, we are struggling with the budgets, which we can now adjust again for some reason. So let's just really adjust this to the, like that. Which gives it a whole load of scope now to give him like what he wanted. What was it, around 25 grand a week? I'm not entirely sure. He's locked in relegation release fee clauses, but has kept a minimum fee release clause in there. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that, which probably means like up to like 35 grand a week, probably. I suggest he wants more, even more. Okay, let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Bring these down to 5k. Yes. That down to 10. That down to 40. Just down to 40, lad, and we should be okay on a deal here. Sorted. Fulham actually have been very kind and said, yes, £4 million, we'll pay that for Charlie Cresswell. That's really handy, so we'll accept that one too. So Cresswell will be out of the club. Brilliant. Annoyingly, though, the work permit for our great kid from Bulgaria has been rejected. Now, he is playing internationally for Bulgaria. Like, he's in their senior team, or maybe not quite now, but has been in and around it. I still think we bring him in. Despite the work permit, I think we still bring him in, get him on loan somewhere. I think this will work out for us. And if it doesn't, the worst case scenario is that we've just wasted a little bit of money, basically. But look at that value already, 61 to 73 million pounds. Right, offer to clubs on loan for the season. Do I want to say 100%? Yeah, why not 100%? Offer to clubs, see who takes him. And there's a lot of clubs that do want him. Trabzonspor, Besiktas and Young Boys all want him. Now, we sent some players to Young Boys this past season, I believe. If we look at loans, they may have come back already. No, it was St. Garland we were sent them to. Not quite Young Boys. But still, I think important player, regular starter, all as a box-to-boxer. He wants to go to Young Boys. I tell you what, let's do it. Let's accept Young Boys then, reject the other two, let him go there with their only average facilities. I can't go back and change this now, can I? Besiktas have probably got better facilities, haven't they? Oh well. Yeah, they have. He's going to Young Boys, it's fine. Hopefully a good season there too. We'll get him back in the Bulgarian national team and work permit sorted. But, the striker is set to join for us. It will eventually cost £27 million, but 12 right now for Pedro Pereira. I do think this is a good deal. I'm pretty sold on it. Accept. It gives the third striking option. We only really have two, to be fair, so a third striker is good. And the fact he's got lots of potential, even better. But of course, we still need to look for a right winger, don't we? And I'm still kind of thinking about Matthias, because he will be a lot cheaper than George Rankin, who is a Wonderkid, I know. But my eggs are in a different basket, if I can find him. My eggs are in the Luciao basket. And that's where I see our future, I think. But, this guy is a Wonderkid. That means he has a lot of potential. Could get an awful lot better. And it would mean a slight tweak to our system because he's a winger, can't play with the left foot, so can't be an inverted winger on that side. Matthias Lecava can play on both wings with both feet. Is more of the inverted winger that we like to play with on the right hand side. It would make more financial sense and maybe even tactical sense to go for this guy. And Luciao is better than this guy. So does that then make sense to go for George Rankin instead? Because George Rankin is better. Actually, it probably does, doesn't it? I don't like making these sorts of decisions. I think, though, actually, that's kind of everything in my head. George Rankin's the better one to go for. So if we put down with £25 million again, which they now say is unacceptable, so we'll make the offer and just see what they say. Perhaps that's the more expensive but better way to go. I don't know, I'm ill. I'm ill and I'm not thinking straight and I can't talk properly. And my throat hurts and I'm tired and I've got a bunged up nose. And I probably don't look great either. Basically, I'm coming up with plenty of excuses for if things don't work out very well. But at least Cresswell is set to leave the club. An extra £4 million coming in, 24k per week freed up in wages. Excellent stuff. And welcome in Nick Batsner, who is our new centre mid, who looked to be an awful lot better than Jan Patrick, from the scouts at least. Let's have a look at Jan Patrick. And yeah, okay, he's a lot better than Jan Patrick. Good. Maybe not quite as good vision-wise, but still better. So actually, the scouts have done a good job here. Also, whilst I look at this team shaping up, this guy can also play right wing. And that could be a way to shoehorn him into the team, Pedro. When he's not playing, that could be a way to shoehorn him in the team. Oh, is that the way to do it, maybe? Rather than spending big on ranking. Especially as I am pretty convinced that Wrexham should leave the club too. Their values have plummeted since they've come back to the club from loan. We bought him for £6.5 million from Mulder. I'd want to get a return on that. Let's just see what we can get for him. And clubs, including Mulder, are happy to bid £7.5 million for him. So in that case, let's not go to Watford, go back onto Wrexham, transfer offered to clubs, bump it up to 10 million. See, that could be something there. And then if he goes and we get enough money, as I don't think clubs are going to bid for £10 million for him, not by looks of things. We have to go back to £8 million for him then, potentially, or 8.5, as the bid for ranking's been rejected. Let's just move it up a little bit, which they say is unacceptable. I don't know, a bit 26 million, let's try that. Back to Wrexham, offer him out for 8.5 million. Let's see if clubs bid on that. That seems more reasonable. We'll probably accept £8.5 million if those bids come in, although they're not, which is bizarre. So let's just go back to the £7.5 million, which seems to be the perfect price point for him in the first instance. And Watford come back in with the £7.5 million bid. You can always rely on Watford to buy our players. I feel like they've done that the past few seasons. Also, the young centre mid from Bulgaria is out to loan to Young Boys, so great to see him, hello and goodbye. Also, transfer bids made for Sequeira, which are going to be rejected immediately because there's no point in selling him because we quite like him. As I thought the game crashed then. It didn't crash, it's fine. Schalke wants Schneller for 21 million. That's a lot of money. How much do we have left in the budget? 38. We've got a lot. We don't need to sell. I don't really want to sell him. Does he want to leave the club? He kind of does. Let's look for keepers then. Okay, keepers sorted by current ability. Alex Pineda is wanted by... Who's he wanted by? Liverpool and Tottenham. Right. 23. Very, very cheap. I quite like the look of him already. Command of area is a little bit low, so is his first touch. But everything else is pretty solid. If we compare him with Schneller, speed, mentally, communication, he's just a little bit worse. But I suppose the mentals and communication come with age, right? Distribution in the air, loads better. Eccentricity, loads better. Physicality, loads better. Shot stopping, close. There's a £950,000 release fee clause. Let's make the offer. Let's try. Let's do it. Why not? Let's bring him in. That seems like a really good deal. I mean, even if we weren't going to lose Schneller, I'd like to bring him in anyway because he's so cheap, which is fantastic. I can look at these sort of older goalkeepers, right? They're old. I don't want an old keeper in here. I mean, 29 might be okay to have him for a couple of seasons. We don't know much about him. Has been playing in Qatar for a while. Very, very well, our lad, but I don't know if that's the right thing for us. Sorted by potential ability instead. We're not seeing a huge amount of keepers who are great and interested in joining us and are for the future. I think we've got a good deal with that Colombian keeper. Also, Rangers keep rejecting the bids for George Rankin. I don't understand why. Like, if we go to 15, 10, £27.5 million, oh, they accept that now, do they? Let's make the offer for him. Why not then? Why not? As he's not interested in... Well, he's interested in talking to us, but more interested in Tottenham and Liverpool, of course. We'd make you the important player in the team. That's what we do. Get rid of the big wage rise, though, and strengthen midfielders. Suggest... Okay. His release fee clause is stupidly low. which is locked in. We'll have to deal with that, won't we, I suppose. Let's sort of give him what he wants, maybe. It's a fairly good contract for us, actually, to be fair. Very good contract for us. And so it is a non-negotiable deal then for Lucas Schneller, but still more than what he's actually valued at. Still more than what he's actually valued at. Why not? Why not? Let's not do it right now. Let's just see if the Colombian guy signs for us first. And then I might think about it. Rangers also accepted the bid for George Rankin as well. So, let us get rid of that. Make him a regular starter like he was last time, which he's happy with. Oh, it's the wage that's mental though, isn't it? It's the wage that's mental. If we can get it down to £55,000, which he won't like, just anything less than 70, really. I don't understand why he's so against all of this. He just keeps going back to put up a little bit. Oh, he's agreed to that now. It's a little concerning. I think maybe we've got a little bit too much there, potentially. A little bit too much, maybe. Oh, now Liverpool are offering a contract to this guy as well. Oh, that's so annoying. Because we need him now. That's why we're going to pay money for him. It's not much money to us. Let's give him more money. More money. We'll give you some more money, lad. 26 grand a week. Oh, now Wolfsburg also making a big bid for Schneller. Not as much up front, but more down the line to make the same £21 million. We're still not going to accept it just yet, though. We're still going to wait to see if we get this other keeper. If not, we will reject the keeper bids, I think. Like, a keeper has not been on my radar, so I've not really got many scout reports on keepers at all. So if we can't get this Colombian guy and he goes elsewhere, then I'm not going to accept the bids for Schneller. Just like I'm not going to accept these bids for Paul Dillon. But very quickly, George Rankin set to sign for us. The right winger. Is this a good move? He's a Wonderkid, so it must be a good move. It must be a good move. He's a Wonderkid. I just think we've paid quite a bit of money for him. But, worst case scenario, we sell him in the future. And so welcome George Rankin. Is he now the highest earner at the club? That's what scares me a little bit. Not quite. Third highest. We've really bumped up our wage structure here, actually, haven't we, with these new players. Particularly given that he'll be a substitute. Or maybe he won't be. You never know. We'll see who plays better, right? Him or Luciao. But at least we've got two young right wingers with a ton of potential. They could work out nicely. Oh, and in the last second, Tottenham are now offering a contract to Pereira too. He'll make his decision in a few days' time. Oh, I'm really scared. I can't. I want the 21 million, to be fair. Change contract offer. Again, a bit more money. How about a bit more money and push the agent fee right up to the max, basically? Let's do that, shall we? Let's just, really try and push home, and we've got to decide what we want to do with now with Schalke's bid. We've run out of time to delay it. We'll accept it. We can always turn it down, can't we? We can always turn it down the line. I'm pretty sure. Also, Roxford decides he's not going to go to Watford either, so that's very annoying. Transfer off to clubs, 6.5 million then I guess is what we're going to have to offer him out for instead. As QPR are now making a bid, we'll accept it, 6.25 million. It's less and less and less than what we are, wanting for him. Reject the one from Dillon because we're going to keep Paul Dillon at the team. Just as long as Roxford can go. Is Schneller set to sign? He's all ready to go. Let's delay it. Delay it for a week. I mean, we just need this other keeper to agree to sign for us, and then it's sorted, isn't it? We can let Schneller go. However, I don't know if he's going to do that, as a bid has been made for Jan Patrick, who I'm tempted to accept. I don't think him or Debbie really made the impact we thought they were going to. If we can get towards £20 million for Jan Patrick, we paid £10 million for him. If we can get towards the £20 million mark for him, that would be quite handy. And no one's willing to pay near that £20 million mark. He wants to discuss a different price. He is saying 12.75. I'll go 15. He says too much. I'll say 14.25. He says too much. How about 14? He says that'll do. Oh, that's a bit annoying. 14 it is then. Let's offer him out. Clubs should bid 14, shouldn't they? And they're not. Weirdly. Maybe we should accept the deal that was on the table for us in the first place. And now he's upset you can't go to PSV. I'm not talking to Jan Patrick about this. Let me do my job to let you go for 12.5. It would be a bit of profit back, wouldn't it? Brighton have offered at 12.5, so we'll accept the Brighton one. We'll offer an ultimatum to the other clubs, but I don't think they're going to play it. Also, thankfully, a work permit for Pereira has been put in. So I think we are going to get him. And he's been granted the work permit and is now here to join us. Alexander Pereira is coming in to be our new first choice keeper. Torre Brecke is going to be back up this season for him as he comes back on loan from St. Gallen. Right. Now what we can do is let Schneller go. Also, just a quick comparison between the two of them, Alex Pereira and Lucas Schneller. You can see that, yeah, they are so similar. But this guy's a lot younger, could still improve a little bit. I think we've made the right decision here. So Schneller, if we can go to and find him in the team. Schneller, transfer, ask for confirmation. Thank you for your season of service, but you know, £21 million is a lot. We'll accept it. Be on your way. And so, pre-season is going by then. We are doing pre-season now. Pre-season games are coming through. We're currently on a trip away in China right now, where we've got our new, whatever they're called, affiliate club, which is pretty cool. So hopefully this will do quite a lot for our, marketing and awareness in other parts of the world. That'd be quite handy. Also, Roxfarg set to leave the club, 6.25 million, so that's more money coming in, and we should also get more money for whatever he's called, not Kelly St. Cuts, who's out on loan to Crew Alexandra. It should be Jan Patrick, that's the name I'm looking for, £12.5 million there. Whenever that one is made at some point, should be in the next few days or so. Surely he's taken his time to agree to it. But that would also be another bit of money coming in, which would be handy. And would actually also leave us in a very, very financially healthy situation. To the point where I'm not planning on making any more signings right now, because I know that we've got the money to bring in some really quality players. But I know those quality players won't want to join us just yet. That's part of the issue. Also, part of the issue is that I'm feeling really rough right now, and I really can't be asked to do any more talking or playing the game or looking at screens. I just want to get into bed, basically. So, as Jan Patrick is now set to sign for Brighton for £12.5 million, for me, that's the window over. We've actually made some really good deals there, I think. So, annoyingly, a lot of these are spread over 2 seasons, which really annoys me. Like, why can't this just go from transfer window to transfer window as opposed to, years? It makes no sense, because we signed Saliba and this guy in this transfer window. It counts for last season for some reason. But in total, we spent 60, call it £70 million. £70 million we've spent on players. In terms of the outs, that's 48. Any count towards the end of last season? Yes, Galbraith counts towards the end of last season, which takes it up an extra £12.5 million. So call it £60 million out. And so what that all should mean is that we have £48 million still to spend. That's a lot of budget. And again, I think we look to use that more in January. But I will be looking to scout some really, really good players. Like world-class players, hopefully. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have done, make sure to drop a like on the video for me. Subscribe if you're new around here, and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. I know it's a bit shorter today, but I'm really not feeling very well. So, yeah, apologies. Hopefully better in the next few days, and we'll get some longer transfer specials out in the future too. Until then, have a good one. Goodbye.